Hey guys. Hey guys. So in this video, we are going to discuss about the SQL. So SQL is it is a standardized language through which we can interact with the database. So SQL stands for a structured query language. Previously, it was called as a structured English query language because of its resemblance with the English language. So this is a very high level and imperative language. So by imperative we mean that uh, through SQL we only explain what has to be done, but not how it should be done. So I think it's for another discussion. So now let's try and see what SQL is and what do we have it. So as we know that SQL is a database language and it was standardized by ANSI, and as per the ANSI standards, the entire language is majorly divided into four types, but it can also be seen as a five different types. So now let's see what are the various classifications that were done on this language. So we have four types in this. So the first one is the data definition language, which is the DDL, and then we have the data manipulation language DML, and the data control language TCL, and the transaction control language TCL. So okay, if we were to look at what each of them does, so the data definition language, it actually deals with the creation of the relations, and it it is a more or less in the control of the database administrator, because not every user will have the privileges to create and drop tables. So it is a privileged task, I could say. So the DDL commands, so they create the relationships, they maintain them, and when they are not needed, and when they are not needed anymore, we can drop them as well. We can alter them and truncate. So we'll see what each of these command does. And then coming to the second one, this is the data manipulation language. So as an application programmer, this is where we work more with SQL for a database. So using the data manipulation language, we can ask for data. We can manipulate the data. We can update records. We can insert records, and we can join them and do a lot of manipulation on the data. So these are all classified as the DML commands. And then we have the data control language. So data control language comes into picture when a database has multiple users working on it simultaneously, or maybe working on it. So when we have multiple users and we were to manage all of them, so not every user will be given all kind of privileges on a certain table. So to so when we want to grant some kind of privileges, like the ability to insert, the ability to drop, delete, so we can grant all those privileges using the grant command, and when they are not needed anymore, we can revoke whatever was given to them. So this is how we can control the accessibility of users on the database. And then the last one we have is the transaction control language. In the next video, I'm going to talk about what the transaction is, and how how all of these commands are going to work together to ensure that a transaction is always safe, in a very safe state, right? So now let's look at the syntaxes of all these commands. So starting with the DDL commands. So this is the create command. So it is used to create a table. We can create views, we can create tables, we can create databases, we can create objects and a lot of things. So we have to specify what are we creating. So here we are saying we need to create a table, and then specify the table name, the column, and the data type. I think we will do a practical session on maybe Postgres and see how it actually works in real time. And then the alter command. Alter command is used to alter alter the existing features that we have added. So whatever we have given in the definition using the create table, if we need to modify some of them, we can use the alter command. And then we have the drop and truncate. So it looks like both of them are kind of doing the same thing on a table, but the drop command will remove the entire table from the database as if it has never existed. But the truncate command will delete all the records from the table, and it will it will it will keep the schema of the table. So it will not eliminate the existence of a table. It will only empty the table and make all the records go away, so that we can either fill it with new records, or maybe we can drop the table later. So if we want to empty the entire content of a table, then we can use truncate. But drop works with table. It will completely remove the table from the database, and we will have no visible proof of it in the database. So in terms of performance, a truncate is a bit faster, uh, because using the truncate, we know that we can we just have to remove all of the records without worrying about the schema. But the drop will eventually have to remove all the records, as well as remove the schema, and if there are any entities which are referring this schema, then all those have to be maintained. So truncate is a slightly faster, but we use whatever is needed for a specific usage. And then we have the rename command. So rename command is just used to rename the table from its old name to new name, which is rarely used in a very sophisticatedly architected databases. And then the second type of commands is the DML commands. Okay, I don't. The match, we're not going to talk about match because it's not used in real time. So we're going to talk about insert, update, and delete. Okay, I did mention that we have a four standard languages, but this one statement, select statement, in many books is actually considered as a language itself, because we have a lot of things associated with this a select statement. So we define select as a DQL command, which is the data query language. We will see what it is, and now let's look at the DML commands. So the DML commands, we have insert, which adds a new record to the table. So insert into table. So this is the syntax for it, and we have to mention the table name. And this is actually not needed when you are inserting all of the columns, but when you are trying to insert only a specific columns, you have to mention in through to which columns these values are supposed to go. uh, and we have the update command. So update will set a new value to the already existing value. We can use a where condition to actually extract the exact record that we wanted to update. If we forget the where condition, wherever the value which we are trying to set, if it has existence, if it has an existence in multiple records, all of those records will be updated. But if you want to specifically update a single record, you have to identify it specifically using the where condition. And then we have this delete command, which is it is actually the most dangerous command, because as application developers, we do have access to it. So in this delete statement, so we say a delete from table name where condition. But what happens if we don't give the where condition? It will just remove every record without looking back. So this will so this is similar to the truncate. uh, and in terms of performance, it was known that delete is a bit slow, because it works with where conditions. If we didn't give a where condition, it will delete eventually every record. But so anyway, it is always a very good practice that you have to mention the where condition if you are trying to delete anything from a table. uh, so this is about the DML commands, and now let's go to the DQL command. So DQL command is just a single statement, that is the select. So it might seem that it's just a select command, then why is it being I mean, why did we have to classify it as a separate command? It's because using select we can do a lot of things. We can merge tables, we can join them, we can write inline queries, we can write CTs. So a lot can happen with this a single statement called select. So that's why during in the manipulation we treat insert, update, delete as the as separately and as select in a other way. So the syntax is very straightforward. You select whatever the columns that you wanted from the table. So we can say from the table name, or we can say from a resource, because it doesn't have to be a table every time. We can use views, so we can provide uh, any inline query. We can provide some joins. So it's about a resource. So we can provide any kind of resource, and here also we can have the where condition to kind of select the specific rows which are abiding to a condition. And then we have the DCL commands. So as we have discussed, when we want to grant certain privileges to some user or to some object, so we use the grant permission to grant them those permissions. And when we don't want them to have them anymore, we can say we can revoke them from the user. And the last one is the TCL commands. So TCL commands are, so we have commit, rollback, save point. So commit, rollback, and save point. So these commands are used to manage how the data is how the data will be stored, and how it can be retrieved if if any sort of disaster has happened. Then how are we going to recover the data, and how are we going to redo the transaction. And all of this will be managed by all these commands. In the next video we will see how this works, and what is the functionality of each command. And let's go to the query execution sequence. So this is an important one, because we need to understand that the way we write a select query, we start with select, and then we give the resources from join, and then we give the where condition. We might use group by, having, order by, and all these clauses, but they don't work in a linear way. So there is a specific way they work. So given that, so in this query, so the first step will always be the resource acquisition. So the SQL query parser will try to see which tables are needed for this query. So it will observe those tables, and it is going to bring them. So since we do have a join clause, so we'll see what happens with join. So eventually it's nothing but, so join is going to merge those two tables with respect to some kind of condition. So we have this resource. So now we have a table to work with. Now we're going to filter them. So to filter them, we have three clauses. So the first one is the where clause. So where clause works with the table. It can only work on the table with one row at a time. So it cannot work with groups, or it cannot work with any aggregated functions. And then we have a group by. So a group by statement. So we can say, after applying the where clause, so we got a table with a minimal filter applied to it, and then we have used the group by clause. So group by clause has divided this table into two groups. So we can see that there is a, a division between these two groups. So now if you want to again do some sort of filtering, some sort of aggregation uh, on these groups, then we can use the having clause. So using where group by having, so we are going to filter the data whatever we were given as a resource. So then from the resource we will have the final filtered columns, and then this will be given to the select statement. So the select statement will have access to this final table, so this table. And then see here we did mention distinct, so it is going to only take out the distinct values. And then we have used order by limit. So order by limit are they are just some sort of orderings, and a limit will limit the number of records that will be visible to the user as an output. So all these statements, they will eventually happen after all the resource acquisition and the filtering, grouping, everything was done. So this is usually how a query works, and these are mostly how so so I, these are the most used select commands. So this is how it works. And so there is another way of looking at it, how execution order works. So we can say we do have source. So from the source we have merged by using from and join, and using where we have applied some sort of filter. So from this filter, if we again want to divide them into some other groups, we can divide them into groups. So we have three groups. Now on these groups individually, if we want to uh, apply some sort of function, we can do that using the heavy clause. So when we have done, when we are done, we have this a filtered output, and then this filtered output will be selected. So this is what will be visible to the select clause. And after selection, you can order it. If it is in a certain way, you can order it in a certain way. And after ordering, you can limit the number of records. See here we have one, two. So we have 8 records. If I say limit 2, so by using the limit 2, we are only limiting 2 records to be visible. And then offset, and offset will it will decide from which statement we are from which record we are supposed to show the output. So this is mostly how SQL works. It's more or less it's more or less similar to English. So it's not very difficult to write an SQL statement, but it is more important to understand what's happening behind the statements. So and after the video on transaction, I'm going to make a video on the types of SQL queries, and in that video we'll see how we can use all of them to write some complex queries. So and that's all for this video. We'll see you in the next one.